Like most people are mixed both. No, not most.
I'm gonna put the moderator's name on here. Like,
see, I'm a 4 minute from a month ago. Yeah, people talking about it and then bring down the sweat. Also, I feel like I've seen this gradual like journey because I've always it's not this thing. Well, okay, like open wear.
what's up, y'all? This is a informative panel discussion. We're about to start. Hold on, let me just zoom in on the girls.
Well, I mean, it's good. Then you're on that side. I'm Dominican, of course. That's like correct. That's the one thing phrase that I had. It's like, it's mine, you know. It's always emotionally, yeah. Your body is share. I mean, I feel like there's you can wear it any way you want, right? I don't even want to put too much pressure on it. I just want to because I've always been very long-term
Jocelyn Milan. I'm probably putting him on any tag on Facebook. I know I got some friends on
I feel like
you know me, I get everything, you know, this is very informative. It's give very much bowling history and just to make sure that always gotta bowl it. You gotta know where we came from to get where we're going. So I hope the girls are tuning in and watching and getting some hidden gems and some stories that the nature which they shared a lot, all that good stuff.
And I was just a point like some people, okay, so you want to be open up
here. Let's start soon.
Because I've always noticing that yeah, some people really don't. Am I stopping in the fantasy? Just because you
have to really get in. Tag your girls.
Your fantasy and you have the only thing that's there's tons of people on the apps that are like, if you're in a relationship, don't even try. Oh, I've maybe you can think this, don't be scared.
Not yet. No. Go ahead. Yeah. Alright, so just to like jump into it, we're gonna play a little video. There's some clips of some of our panelists, including myself for that. And then we'll jump into it. Yes, surprise,
Oh wow.
You don't want to say you're there to see it? Thank you for getting to know it.
I already know that.
Yeah, so.
Okay. Straight line. This is my birthday. Like, my wake up call. There you go. Yes. Work for it. There you go.
Well, I remember this clip. I was there for this.
Boss lady, we gonna stop in here.
Yeah. We have more clips, but saving some time, we're just gonna move along. So, does anybody in this room not know what ballroom is? Don't be afraid to raise your hand if you don't.
Well, I know what ballroom is, but I know that it also can be based on houses, and so what is ballroom technically? Because there's Harlem ballroom, which is people in the community, but then there's house ballroom. So what is this form of ballroom?
So this form of ballroom is the house ballroom.
Okay.
Where you've seen a couple of clips already of some of our panelists, where a bunch of houses compete against each other for grand prize money and trophies, and it's for bringing the community together and showcasing our talent and celebrating each other.
Okay.
So that is ballroom, and after the discussion, you should know a lot more, and particularly about the Kiki Scene as well. So now quickly, I would like to mention why I started this series of panel discussions. For those of you that don't know, the series was inspired by Paris is Burning, a 1990 American documentary film directed by Jenny Livingston, filmed in the mid to late 1980s, that chronicled the ball culture of New York City and the African American, Latino, gay, and transgender communities involved in it. The LGBTQ community has come a long way since then, and we have all had many new laws and supporters aiding the changes that have happened for us all. I'm proud to say that even New Pride Agenda has spearheaded and pushed for passing of the Transgender and Gender Nonconformity Equity Fund of $3 million.
For how much?
$3 million.
When did that happen?
months ago, like 2
A
months ago.
couple months ago.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
So, but honestly, there's still so much work to do, and we still have areas in America that don't treat the community with the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
Because we are all human, and we all deserve love, and educating society about our community definitely helps. So without further ado, let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to New Pride Agenda's original panel discussion series titled Paris is Still Burning. My name is Mother Jocelyn Milan, and I am the program coordinator here for the New Pride Agenda. This is the series finale of the series, and this portion is titled Keeping Ballroom Alive, Kiki and Beyond. Tonight, we will be discussing the current state of ballroom, how it's exploded in pop culture, and methods of reclamation from the perspective of leaders. Ballroom has always been perceived as a safe space to celebrate each other for our talent and beauty, as well as our strength in managing to remain alive in a society that oftentimes feels like it would rather not see us flourish. A subset of the mainstream house and ballroom scene, called the Kiki Scene, was created just over 10 years ago. So we have some community guidelines for our panelists. I want us all to just use one mic. I want them to know that this is a judgment-free and safe space, and that goes for the audience as well. And I want us all to just try to use I statements. And speaking of panelists, let me introduce you to our panelists for the evening. And when I introduce you by name, I want you to tell the audience what are your pronouns, what house or houses you are in, and what category or categories you are. So let's start over there. With founding mother Gillette Oricci.
Oh shit! Oricci bitch! Oh shit! Oricci bitch!
All right, everyone. Hi, how everyone doing?
How you doing?
All right, so I'm the legendary founding mother, Gillette Oricci, and I'm also legendary Gillette Louboutin in the Kiki Scene. My pronouns is she, her. I walk legendary runway in both main and Kiki Scene. In the Kiki Scene, sometimes I dabbled in a little performance, and I did Bush Clean Up in drag space one time, but that was about it. So I'm gonna pass it to my sister Gia.
Oh my God. Sorry, what am I doing? Okay. I had a long weekend, so my voice is a little out, but whatever. I'm Gia Love. I use she, her pronouns. And in the Kiki Scene, I'm the queen mother of the House of Juicy Couture. And in the main scene, I'm in the House of Allure. And I don't really walk, so I've walked in the past, but no plans on walking in the future ever again. Maybe, but I don't think so. And like, I'm iconic in the Kiki Scene. I think that my role in ballroom is as more so a spectator and also to contribute to the pedagogy of ballroom and the academic discussions around ballroom, race, politics, and how they intersect with our lives. So thank you for having me today.
Word to you.
My name is Felix or Chloe, both names, doesn't matter. I go by he, him pronouns. I am in the legendary House of West in the main scene, and I am in the House of Ulan in the Kiki Scene. I'm known for drag performance, Vogue fan. In the Kiki Scene, I've walked between face, best dress, streetwear. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Okay, so now we are going to move into our panel discussion. Each question will be directed to each panelist, and I will choose the first person to answer each question, and then we'll pass it along to the next panelist after that. So the first question is, describe in your own words, what is the Kiki Scene?
Sure. So the Kiki Scene to me is a place of creation. So like Ballroom period is a place of creation, but I feel like the Kiki Scene will take it above to make it a space not only of creation but safety. So it gives the youth, it gives a platform and a place to come out and walk and not necessarily be like rock stalking, et cetera, et cetera. So it creates safe arena for them to literally build themselves up eventually into main ballroom. That makes sense.
So the Kiki Scene is basically a youth-oriented space of the ballroom subculture. Usually people participate at the younger ages in our lived experience. So I started walking Kiki balls when I was 14 years old. And I don't see it as a stepping stone to the mainstream because I think that, I know that the Kiki Scene has a lot of value, and I think that you can coexist in both scenes, and people do. As she says, she's the legendary Gillette in the main scene and in the Kiki Scene. And did you start working mainstream balls first, right? So, some people have different narratives, but I do think it's just a youth-oriented space that was created to be an intervention for HIV, STI awareness, and it has grown into a competitive outlet as well.
Yes, pretty much to say what Gia said. To me, it is kind of like a stepping stone. It's for ages 13 to 24. Pretty much a safe space for them to come and pretty much learn your talents before being thrown into the main scene. The main scene has a lot of history, and with a lot of history comes a lot of things with requiring you to be a certain way or to move a certain way. You can be persuaded to do certain things. So the Kiki Scene has created a space for them to be not much supervised, but to be more sort of nurtured before moving into the main scene. And then it's kind of a graduation, but that's just pretty much the Kiki Scene that in my eyesight.
Thank you all. So the second question would be, what was the first Kiki ball that you went to, and how did it turn out?
So the first HMI function a long time ago, I don't necessarily remember the year. HMI used to have both them Fridays, so the Kiki Scene wasn't a robust institution as it is today, where they literally a fun thing that you competed for gift cards and stuff, and people would make their outfits out of scraps, if you will, really be creative. It wasn't such a competitive outlet that was driven by money, because the scene has definitely evolved. I had a great time. It definitely attracted me to the space. It let me know that there was a place for me, especially as a young person who was trying to navigate and figure out my identity. I saw people at the intersections of many identities being praised for who they were and not being laughed at and ridiculed as I seen in the street. So I was I have to be in this space, because I was never a key, and I was always a person who would know that I need to be in spaces that uplift me and that celebrate me. So that's what attracted me to the Kiki Scene.
So my first Kiki ball was the HMI Awards ball in 2013. I was kind of drugged out to the Kiki ball by my two sisters, the legendary Africa Couture and Mimi Marciano, both of them legendary. It was just all in the house, and we were just all sitting around creating effects and things. And I was the family that I had when I moved from North Carolina, I was a Revlon, and it wasn't really giving that up here. So the Kiki Scene kind of brought me in and really helped practices, hung out with me. So that's why I kind of gravitated to the Kiki Scene. So my first ball was in 2013. It was fun. A couple girls slid under the table. We were rather keep them nameless, but I won, and it was great.
So for me, I grew up in Florida, in Miami. So I was already in like the main scene. I was already in the house. So I would travel for like major Kiki balls. And I remember I was recruited by the House of Extravaganza, which is not really around anymore. That was my first Kiki house. And my first Kiki ball was actually like 2010 or 11, one of those two. It was a Gucci ball. And I came and I carried. So my experience was different because I was already in ballroom by that time. So it was more on a competitive, like training myself to be better in both scenes. So yeah, I was already attracted to ballroom by then. So it was already.
Which ball? Was it the one like that was in a nice space, or was it the one in the gym?
It was the one that had like barricades on the side. Like with
The nice one. Oh, I remember that one. I know.
And
I don't remember you that night, but yeah, I went to.
I remember it was I won for the performance, and then I lost like the money for the cash, but I got my trophy, and then I went to like a little rumble bar after that, and I won again, so I was happy about that.
Okay, so the third question is, how do older generations and younger people interact together to continue the legacy of ball? Because that's not easy.
I think cultivating intergenerational spaces where, not only we are relying on our elders to guide us, but we are using the active minds of the youth and the free spirit of the young people to help drive the community into the future are very important. I think that there's a lot of hierarchy in ballroom that doesn't really provide the space for that. But I think that coalition building is important, and you see initiatives like House Lives Matter, bringing Kiki Ballroom and Main Street Ballroom, people of different ages and leadership experiences together to really create that sustainable experience for our community where we can really have Kiki and mainstream really exist long into the future. I've seen many instances where you have Kiki categories at mainstream balls or like oriented categories in the Kiki scene asking for mainstream people to come into the space. So I think that we need to do more of that. And I think that it is important, particularly for like the leadership in the mainstream scene to be more inviting of the Kiki spaces and not view these people as like subordinate or like children who don't have a mind, because we all know that like the Kiki scene is very, 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 very important to the heart of ballroom today. As Gillette said, like, in New York, that's the scene. Like, if you're not doing Kiki, you're not doing it in New York, because we have the ball. So it's a lost opportunity, and I think that organizations should provide more topics and discussion spaces like this so that we can strategize about how we're going to move forward.
Okay.
You probably made it up.
No questions at the end.
What is a Kiki scene? I'm lost. What is that?
So a Kiki Scene pretty much was developed by CBO, which is a community-based organization, nonprofit organization. And they saw the need for the youth, that they loved ballroom, but they wasn't accepted, like you just said, or wasn't welcomed by the older persons in ballroom. So it was a space created for them. And it was actually a space created within the agencies before it got too big to where it is now. So it's pretty much the youth, ages 13 to 24, pretty much a space for them to come and display their talents and be themselves, creative, anything they want to do in that space before stepping into the main scene where you're really getting judged, critiqued really hard.
Yes.
So to me, I feel like there could be like a better interaction with the elders in ballroom. You could say with the Kiki scene. I feel like history is very important to me, so I actually was kind of like raised into ballroom. Like I came in ballroom when I was 17 years old, and it was important for my gay parents and my LGBT elders to install this like history into me, and I do the same with my kids. But I know that not everyone has the luxury to have those connections sometimes. So I do feel like it falls more under us, like the elder in ballroom, to look out and reach out to the youth.
Once you put your phone over the whole time they speaking, people speaking, I don't understand.
So I actually wrote this question differently, but I'm gonna change it up on the spot. Do you all feel that the Kiki scene has changed mainstream ballroom in any way?
I wouldn't more so say change, but it has definitely gave it some ideas and sparked up main scene a little bit. I've been walking main scene for going on probably like 15 years, and it's been kind of repetitive of the same old, bring the same look or this and the third. But the Kiki scene is full of youth, and the youth is always creative and always doing something different. It's always up with the time. So I sometimes find that the main scene is always trying to keep up with the Kiki scene sometimes, versus the Kiki scene trying to keep up with the main scene. Because it's persons like myself jumped into the Kiki scene versus wanting to walk a mainstream ball. Like I would sometimes jeopardize, be like, girl, I need to walk this Kiki ball versus this main scene ball because I know it would finish, it would be more organized. And it's not even really about the money, it's really about showcasing your talent and having a great time.
Yeah, I think that, that's okay. I think that, hello? I think it's, hello? Hello? Okay. So I think that the Kiki's, honestly, like, and I'll just like basically accept this. If anything, I'm a Kiki girl. Call me that. I'm a bad bitch though. I'm a bad bitch. And I think that the Kiki scene has required the mainstream scene, especially, I'm gonna speak for New York though, to step their pussies up. Because, like Gillette said, like, it created such a safe space for a lot of us. Like, I'm a juicy, and, I wasn't always a juicy. I was in other houses before, and, the family aspect and the things that we have done as the House of Juicy Couture, I couldn't even fathom being a part of any mainstream house that can't provide me what the House of Juicy has provided me. In my career, in my personal life, and beyond, like, the House of Juicy Couture has been very instrumental to my personal development. And I think on a competitive front, like in a business aspect, like, like you said, like, these Kiki balls are usually associated with community-based organizations. So, like there's like a different element and a different energy. And I think that the mainstream scene, when they notice that people are not transitioning to the mainstream scene, like you said, people are existing in the Kiki scene, thriving in it, and being okay with that. Like, I don't walk anymore in the Kiki scene. I believe I removed 202, unless my house calls me, I'll come. But I do think that, and I won't transition to them. I'm in a house, but like, the Kiki scene is where it's at, so that.
So yeah, I feel like, no shade, like the Kiki scene has like birthed like some of the hottest bitches that are out walking now. So they kind of do like the hard work, like the groundwork a lot of the times. They get like these younger kids, they train them, they make them hot, they're eating it, and then people in the main scene are like, oh, do you want to come over here? Do you want to come over there? But had it not been for the Kiki scene, like y'all would literally have to like literally teach these kids from scratch. So if you were to just scratch the Kiki scene, a lot of the bitches that are out now eating it would have had to worn it, and it would have just been like a lot longer. So I do believe that the main scene benefits a lot from the Kiki scene. So yeah.
Okay, so let's switch it up and get a little bit more lighthearted. The question that I have for you all is, if you had your own Kiki house, what would be the name of your Kiki house?
Come on, let's hear it. No! Anytime.
Damn, I feel like all the names, I don't know. I can't really answer that question because I feel like a lot of the names that I would choose have been selected, but I would create a house for big girls. Like it would just, we would only have big girls in my house. Like only plus size girls. Yeah, you could be in it. Yeah, you could be mother. Moose? Oh, I don't know.
They had that already.
We would not be, we would be like BBB or something. Also BBB.
Okay, I already went down the road of having my own Kiki house.
I don't remember.
The house
I'm
was,
not being shady.
I know, girl. The house is Swish is Sweet.
It was quick. It was like a really quick thing.
It was a very quick thing.
It was an experiment.
Yeah, so it was the house of Swish is Sweet. It was a very quick thing. The people in the house, they did their big ones, but they did move on to bigger and better things, and they're now actually turning it in. A few are about to be legend. Some are like $500 girls already in the Kiki scene. But yeah, my Kiki house is pretty much based off of the underdogs. I always live for the underdogs because I was considered an underdog at the beginning.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's what my house was.
The house of Japanese is hard. For me, I mean, I'm into like fashion and I love like luxury things, so it definitely would have been like a luxury like house name, but they're all freaking taken, like YSL, Margiela, Mugler, etc.
No Chloe?
But no, hell no.
Are you serious?
But definitely my house. I'm known for always like I love women and support women at all times. So like my house would be like an all feminine house, but me being half feminine. So yeah, it would have been just with dolls. Where are the house dolls?
Dolls!
But it was done.
Alright, so just 2 more questions left. So I recently learned that they began removing sex siren and body from the Kiki balls because it is a space for the youth. Do you think that was a good idea, and why?
So I'm on the fence with this, right? Because
Can you explain what those titles are for folks who might not be?
what?
You mean the category?
So their categories are based on sex appeal, but other times you come out with like provocative clothing on and stuff like that, or no clothes. So it's like based on your sex appeal and how sexy you could be, so that you dress sexy and look sexy and act sexy, if that makes sense, right? So growing up into the scene, like, I mean, you have kids, are walking Kiki balls, are like 15, 14, 16 years of age. When I was that age, personally, I was already being like sexually active. I just wasn't able to like talk about it. So I really didn't have anybody to talk about it. So it was kind of like, do it, but don't speak on it, just shut up. So in a sense, I do feel like it could create a space where you're a little more welcoming or a little bit more open for people to be like, hey, I'm 16, I have my first boyfriend or girlfriend, this is sexy, things are changing, etc., etc. But then I also see how I don't feel like a group of 15-year-olds should be around grown man or grown women completely naked, doing dirty. So I'm kind of in the fence with that, so I can't say yes or I can't say no. But that's personally, I wish that it was a bit more talked about when I was younger. The whole sex show, sex ed, etc., etc. So I feel like that could be a gateway into that. But then I also could see the challenges and red flags that could come with. So I'm interested to see what you have to say.
Yeah, I think that I honestly, like, these kids are fucking. So it's like
Exactly that way.
like honestly, so it's like now I just know the reality. So the reality is that, like, to be fair, 14 and 15-year-olds are not walking sex ed, right? They're not doing that. It's usually the elder people in the community that are coming up for those categories. Like, I'm just gonna speak from a trans experience. Like, usually a 15-year-old trans girl, you know, like the category is not created to invite that, right? Yeah, right? So usually by the time you're like 23, you got a little body, you know, you're developed into a woman because you're 23, and you come out. So I think there is an appropriate way. I think that we should let the youth decide that though, because like we said, these people are sexually active, and a lot of these community-based organizations actually are hypocritical for trying to curb this because they take a sex-positive approach to their work. So if you're taking a sex-positive approach to work, then you should you should allow the youth to create that conversation and decide how they want to carry that out.
Okay, so I work in New Jersey at Project LOL, and at Project LOL we have a Kiki Coalition where we work with the Kiki Coalition in New Jersey. When I first started it, they did have sex siren there, and there were youth that were walking. I didn't agree with it because there are some persons, like I said, people in the main scene do look into the Kiki scene, and those persons being older can start grooming and start preying on these people for these categories once they're youth. So we changed it up with this being an agency, and we'll call it sex appeal. And you have to, at least if you're gonna do it, sell sex with clothes on. You know, be your natural self. Oh yeah, be your natural self with your clothes on. And so that has worked so far for the last 7 months. You know, it hasn't been no problem, no backlash. But I do not agree with, you know, the youth, if it's for ages 13 to 24, to be walking provocative or doing things that, you know, you shouldn't be doing at that age. That somebody will be looking at you, they beat you after the ball, and something happened. That's just my thing. Even though you are having sex at your age, you may prefer older men and things like that. But if the agencies are the ones that's throwing those balls, they cannot be the ones that be the ones that's gonna like initiate that or help you market that. I don't agree with that.
I want to say something. I think a clarification is that the Kiki scene, to me, I'm not going to say that it's clarification, but the Kiki scene is not for people ages 13 to 24. Those are just like grant, like for example, guidelines. Like your Project LOL, right? You don't service 30-year-olds there, right? Do you?
No, well, we have other grants.
Other grants, right? So it's like the Kiki Scene monies will be like, that's just like for like your grant shit, right? But for like the community, it's just like youth-based, right? The youth, the young people, the new generation, and I like to like really phrase it in that way. But I do agree with that, and I think that like that is because like when I was a part of the New York Coalition years ago, they wanted to take it out completely. And I do think that, you know, that you should have a space for like young people to, you know, express themselves in whatever way they want to, and also stay true to ballroom, you know, and I think that's important.
I just want to say thank you already to my panelists for having such candid answers and being open. You know, I don't always talk about me being in the ballroom scene, everyone that I meet. So just thank you so much, you know, because I feel like people need to know more about it, you know, in an educational perspective. All right. So I am going to say the last question of the night, unfortunately. And the question is, any words of wisdom to the up-and-coming generation interested in ballroom?
Words of wisdom would be just take your time. It's literally like a job. So like take your time, study it. Depending on what you want to do in ballroom, make sure that you are literally taking the steps to prepare yourself out there. Mentorships are like great. So like attach yourself to someone that walks what you want to walk, etc., etc. Can help you mold yourself to become what you want to be in ballroom. So look for leadership and just surround yourself with positive influences within the scene.
Yeah, I think that like I would tell the younger generation to the ballroom scene can be a very intimidating place, and I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, it's a lot of men judging, like, creating this space, and there are a lot of positive family dynamics and a lot of creative outlets that we get out of the ballroom space, but I find that sometimes the toxicity of the community can be overwhelming, particularly for a lot of femmes, non-binary people, and trans women. So I would just say be fierce, don't let nobody play with you. And just the same way you be beating the bitches up in these streets, do what you need to do to gain your respect in the ballroom space, because people will try you. Like, it's like a cycle. You know what I mean? And then once they know you don't play, they stop. I'm saying my story. That's just my story. That's my story. Yeah, I'll be honest.
My wisdom for anyone that's coming in or youth is to learn to be resourceful. Understand, you know, you want to come and have a great time, but also ballroom can be a lot of things within it if you make it. You know, it's just besides, you know, you just want to come in and like Vogue. You can really make it a career. You can really like take off and do something with it. Also, like Gia said, have a backbone, because also with you stepping into something like that, you do have to have a backbone, and you do have to have tough skin, because people will try to throw a lot of things at you. And also, just don't forget to have fun.
Thank you to all of the panelists for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I love you all. And the partners for participating and those who tuned in online. I would like to thank my team at New Pride Agenda for helping me put it all together. Alisa, Key, Jazzy, and Sheer. We would like to keep this discussion on our NPA Facebook page. We also have filmed it for Instagram Live for the folks to reference and watch later if they like. And next weekend on Sunday, September 3rd, we're having our annual barbecue. Everyone is September 4th. Sorry. It's open to the public and all are welcome. Please come. We're gonna have food, drinks, games, all types of things. So I hope to see you there, and thank you all for coming. Good night, everybody.
Thank y'all for joining. I hope you guys find this very informative.
Sorry, there's food in the back. Please take it. You know, there's Panera Bread, some soda, and water back there.
I hope y'all find this very informative. Thank y'all for joining. Make sure y'all nominate me for a bunch of media outlets of Let's Talk Live.
Questions to the panelists?
I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
I have a question.
I don't really have a question, but one of the things that I think will be a great suggestion is for like the
Sex siren.
sex siren.
Right.
What I think would be good is to base it on energy, because I used to do a Kiki Scene through Iris House, and base it on energy. So if you remember Aaliyah or Whitney Houston, when they came out, they were fully clothed, baggy clothing. Nothing about them was sexually appealing physically, but it was just the energy. When they, were around you, you knew they were, ooh. So if they would maybe not really focus on the physical clothes, because I feel like children should be taught how to be sexy. I feel like we don't really teach our children how to be sexy. And we just go out and have sex. So, they should teach the youth how to be sexy.
Yes, I agree with you. Does anybody else have a question?
Have you guys ever been dissuaded by how shaped ballroom could be? Like not wanting to go back because of, the shape?
I love that.
She's a middle name.
No, I mean, my personal experience, no. I mean, if they try to bring it to their ball and you let them have it, that's ball.
Yeah, but some shit.
I'm not gonna lie, I have, because I fight. So, like, I just, I want to avoid that, because I will fight. So I just, have over the years definitely needed to be I need to be in good mental space in order to be able to go in there, because I will wild out. Get on my drink and it's over. You know that.
It's like Chloe said, like I love ballroom. I love the if you didn't win, you can always come back again. So I just love that. So now.
Anybody else? No? One more. The last question.
Right, I'm working on it. So, as a newcomer into ballroom, there's always a lot of opinions and voices of change and a demand of new things. Since y'all experienced, what are some foundations in ballroom and both scenes that should stay the same, and what are some foundations that need to be elevated?
Honestly, I think ballroom is I don't think it should change. Yeah, I think it can change in the the premise of your question. I understand. I think it should evolve. It should transform into something bigger. But like they said, ballroom is perfect, but just not everyone is made for ballroom, right? Like I said, I know myself, so I know when I'm not in a good space, maybe it's not the best thing for me to go to a ball. But when I'm feeling kind, go to a ball. I'm gonna feel fab. It's a fab space. It's fab people. It's family. And I just think that, ballroom is a great intervention in our lives as Black and brown and other queer people. It's great.
Yeah, so I agree with maybe ballroom could be a bit more open now with the times, they've been creating spaces and categories for gender non-conforming folks and stuff like that. So that could be something that they could work on maybe a little more. But ballroom has been rooted in such rich history that I don't see how ballroom should change more. If that makes sense.
I'm very, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ballroom is always have a different era and always teach you something different. So if you go in changing things, it may not work out. Right. So it's fine the way it is, and it's not for everybody, You may push yourself and push yourself. You might just be the filler. You might be the girl. You might just sit on the side and have to sit, so you get to the next level. Thank you so much. But it's not for everybody. I mean, not saying just because you're a person of color you can't come and enjoy, but the competition part is just not for everybody. So, yeah.
What I will say though, and I don't think this is a major problem, but I've seen it, I think that, and I'm I think that, beware of elevating whiteness in ballroom, because I've seen that Not that white people shouldn't participate, or like, you know, there's a standard in ballroom. And I think that just because like you don't come from a community that is typical of ballroom, because ballroom was created out of necessity. And like the fact that people were rejected. So it's like when you like allow people to not only take up the space, but usurp the space and profit off the space, I think that that becomes problematic, and a lot needs to change when those things happen.
More transparency.
Any questions for you, Jackie? Any answers? Like, you want to answer the question?
Do I?
I don't know.
I agree with the panelists. I've been in ballroom since I was 17, and like Gillette, I was the underdog. I wasn't always accepted. You know, ballroom likes to, and I always tell this to people, ballroom likes to tear you down to build you up. But what I will say about ballroom is that it made me stronger. I would never take it back. I don't regret ever being in ballroom. I've met the most wonderful, intelligent, beautiful, talented people that I will ever meet in ballroom. And I owe a lot to ballroom, so no, I wouldn't change a damn thing.
That's right.
So piggyback on that, and then we could go. Right, we could go. So I'll put it like this. I've been in ballroom over 10, 11, 12 years now. And for a long time, there was not a space for someone like me, for example, a person that was a drag queen girl that also enjoyed the other kind of things in life. So for a long time, ballroom was not welcoming of me presenting myself in ballroom unless I was Chloe. And they gave me a lot of backlash. They were like, well, you were never going to make it as a Vogue fan. You are never going to get your chance for pushing face. So those were backlashes and like pushback that I got from ballroom. But guess what? Here I am, eating it for pushing Vogue fan, legendary pushing Vogue fan, getting through her face and getting better, and bitch making them know it. Make them know it.
Okay.
Ballroom is about growing, and we've all grown together, and ballroom will continue to grow and help people grow. So if you haven't been to a ball, check it out.
For tuning in, I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all nominate me for Best Ball Media Outlet. That's Power with the Live. I'm also nominated for New York City Jet Setter and Ultimate Jet Setter. The link for the ballots is actually posted on my page. It's the first comment on my page when you go on there. Besides your Morgan, it's the first that's pinned. You just look for the link, and on there you can see other people that's been nominated. Congratulations to all who have been nominated. And yeah, next ball y'all will see me in actually will be tonight. I'll be at Kiki Bowl Elevation that's brought to you by Snooki Lenore, and followed by this Saturday at the Room Lounge, Karma Playboy, and excuse me, the Cookout Ball this Saturday from 7, I believe it's from 7 to 12 or 7 to 2 o'clock. I think it is. Play $5 commentators. They got a lot of cashews on there. It's going on. I'm going to be on a panel. I'm also going to be reporting, all that good stuff. And yeah. I'm here. Thank you for joining.